Drew McIntyre wants John Cena, a wrestling star, gives an update after being hit by a car, and more. This is Wrestling Up. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for May 5th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. After leaving WWE without a non-compete clause, Andrade has finally re-emerged on the wrestling scene, debuting for AEW last night on Dynamite. Vicky Guerrero introduced him, with Andrade saying he would become the face of the company. This could have been the big news he was referring to, where many thought Andrade was saying his fiancée Charlotte Flair was pregnant. Speaking of Flair, she would have a positive reaction, posting crying and heart emojis. Andrade would comment on his AEW debut on Instagram, writing, "The new Andrade El Idolo, new goals, new opportunities to achieve more success. Thank you so much for the great introduction, Vicky. Thanks for the wonderful welcome, AEW." With him getting hit with a stiff kick from Humberto Carrillo, Sheamus has given an update on his injury, showing off his nose in a photo from the hospital, as it looks like the US champion won't be giving up his belt anytime soon. As the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns is the top dog of SmackDown. Dave Meltzer touched on his status, saying Roman will always either go on first or last when a pay-per-view comes around. You put the most important first or last. That's the big argument right now with Roman Reigns. Roman will either go first or last. He won't go anywhere else. That's a shoot. He doesn't want to go anywhere but first, because that's okay, or last, which is preferable because he's the main event, and he doesn't want to go second or fourth or second from the top. Going on first in some cases can work in Roman's favor. This is what happened at Hell in a Cell, where Reigns went on first, which meant he would have a virgin cage, as there were two other Hell in a Cell matches later that night. When Retribution made their WWE debut, many things for the faction were planned on a week-to-week basis, with them using some old ideas. Former member of Sanity, Alexander Wolf, talked with Fightful about this. As it was reported, Wolf said much of what initially happened with Retribution was actually pitched for and by members of Sanity for their SmackDown introduction 2 years prior. Retribution would be broken up during the Fastlane kickoff show, as Alexander Wolf is no longer with WWE as of last month. Ring of Honor star Tracy Williams recently took to Twitter to let fans know he was struck by an automobile, with a photo of himself in the hospital. He wrote, "Firstly, I'll be okay. I got full-on hit by a car yesterday crossing a street. Guy blew a red going 25 miles an hour. I flew for what felt like a full second, landed high on my back. Just so unbelievably lucky and grateful that my dog, who was walking with me, was somehow not hit and she's okay. I'd take that hit for her any day, and it could have been so much worse. There are a lot of things about it that were lucky in that weird way. Like, it's lucky the idiot driver hit a 32-year-old pro wrestler and not the old couple that was crossing from the other side in front of me. Also, I now know that the times I said, I feel like I got hit by a car, I really wasn't that far off. Also annoying it wasn't on camera, because it must have looked insane." Following his shocking release, Braun Strowman has posted a cryptic message writing, "If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, cause there's too many places I've got to see." This seems to indicate Strowman is ready to make his next appearance in the wrestling scene, possibly wanting to travel the globe. Of course, he could have to wait with a reported 90-day non-compete clause. When it comes to news of Chris Jericho no longer being under contract with New Japan, the man himself responded, "Hardly hot news. I haven't been under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling since January 6th of 2020. With many under the impression Jericho's deal had recently expired, it turns out to not be the case. Still, that does not mean he's done with the Japanese promotion, with him recently saying to TSN, "There is a lot of unfinished business for me in New Japan. Jay White is a potential opponent. Suzuki is another one that would draw big money. Kota Ibushi Ibushi, Will Ospreay, those 4 guys I'd love to work with. I'd love to do a Golden Jets team, Kenny and Jericho versus Okada and Ibushi, or Tanahashi and Okada, or Tanahashi and Ibushi. I think that's a Tokyo Dome main event right there. So there's a lot of stuff I'd like to do in New Japan, and as soon as we can start going over there again, I'm more than agreeable to doing more work there. I really enjoyed these 6 matches that I had there in 2018 and 19, and I think there's plenty of room for more. With T-Mobile Center, Drew McIntyre touched on WrestleMania 39, where he would love to see The Rock take on Roman Reigns, with him even naming a match for himself. But if we're going Hollywood, Rock would be the obvious choice as a dream opponent, but I kind of want to see Rock and Roman, so I'll take Cena since he's kind of gone Hollywood. It would be a great story, Cena challenging for his 17th World Championship. Absolutely, I like it. As Mania 39 is set for Sunday, April 2nd of 2023, there is plenty of time to get this bout set in stone. Lacey Evans was last seen on WWE TV embroiled in a romance with Ric Flair, to the dismay of Charlotte. This would come to an abrupt end as Evans would announce that she was pregnant on February 15th. Now she's taken to Instagram to reveal more about her child. Happiest mama in the world. My little lady will now have the best sidekick, best friend, and best bond a woman can ask for, a sister, and I can't wait to teach them what true love, support, and family really means and feels like. WWE congratulated Lacey through their official Twitter account as fans hope to see her back in action down the line. On his podcast, Kurt Angle recalled the end of his WWE run in 06 and his behavior towards Vince McMahon. Up until 06, we were pretty close, but my behavior became erratic. I started behaving out of control, sending Vince text messages threatening to beat him up. I had the painkiller problem that nobody knew about. I was injured so much, and I couldn't take any time off because a lot of the other talent were injured, a lot of the top guys. I was kind of there to keep the product intact, and mentally I was just losing it. I was texting Vince more and more, and he wouldn't respond, and that made me even angrier. After I joined CW, it got worse. I sent those texts because he wouldn't get back to me. I understand why now. I wasn't making any sense. When I went to a meeting with Vince after I decided to leave after ECW 2006, we get a whole list of text messages, and I'm reading these saying, gosh, I don't remember texting this. It was really graphic. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Some of the texts didn't make sense. I was probably high on painkillers when I was sending them. It was just ridiculous. I was in awe. I remember looking at these texts going, holy crap. I don't remember saying any of this stuff. It was just a bad situation. Thankfully, Angle has gotten clean and seems to have ended things on good terms with WWE and McMahon. With Metro.co.uk, former AEW champion Jon Moxley spoke about the success of the Shield and if it can be recreated. Anything could work. I mean, it's different because you're a known commodity on NXT now, whereas when we came in, we were complete nobodies. So there's a benefit to that. On the one hand, nobody knows who you are, but on the other hand, you have a completely fresh slate. You're a complete mystery. You can come right in and start whooping whoever's ass you want. The problem is, it doesn't matter if they're on NXT. If people know who they are or they don't. If somebody's getting over, you're giving them the opportunity to get over. You've got to actually follow through on pushing a guy or girl. It doesn't really matter where they came from. That could definitely happen again. It's just they got to follow through with it all the way. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.